Discount Looney Tunes. Goddamn, those are some mirror shine floors. Goddamn. Roger is definitely looking up this woman's skirt right now. Crib bars function as slingshots in a cartoon world, but as we find out later, this is being filmed by a real world crew. So how do they make that happen? Does anybody draw this? Or do cartoon physics just happen naturally? Are you saying we shouldn't apply logic to this movie? You've come to the wrong place. A responsible oven company sells a product with a setting of volcano heat. Convenient pile of dishes allow baby Herman to crawl across the sink in what is an otherwise spotless kitchen. This oven has a setting that, when reached, shoots the cooked food out into the kitchen like a missile. That's handy. God, is this the largest residential kitchen in recorded history? Bar of soap has enough force to slam into the baby and nudge him close enough to grab this pendulum. The kitchen is set up in such a way that no one would be able to reach these comically stacked pots and pans without a ladder. And as Roger's run around the kitchen proves, there is more than enough cabinet space to put these in without creating a safety hazard. Also, chili sauce found its way amongst all these pots, pans, and cheese graters, because whoever does the cooking in this house is the dumbest person alive. Unstored, unrefrigerated, and probably moldy bread. Despite general odds, none of these knives hit Roger. This vacuum cleaner wasn't here before. Yeah, no, Roger's head did not impact and break the bottom of the fridge like this.
You were better than perfect. This Roger, he keeps blowing his lines.
What lines? This director is addicted to cartoon birds.
It says rabbit gets clunked, rabbit sees stars, not birds.
How is Roger responsible for the bird showing up? Do you mean this is like crying on cue? You have an assortment of I just got banged in the head animations in your head? The f***? This set is actually impossible, given the full 360 shots of the kitchen we saw just a few moments earlier during the scene when the camera was supposedly filming.
Hey, Roger, I got that on your head 23 times already.
23 times? How does Roger screw up the birds versus stars thing that many times? And that was the first time the director pointed out the stars thing in the script? After 23 times? And what does it matter?
Tunes.
That's racist. Also, Mad Men levels of casual liquor.
Mr. Maroon, Mr. Valiant's here too.
Mr. Maroon? Mr. Valiant? Soon to be joined, no doubt, by Mr. Brave, who killed Mr. Innocent in the kitchen with Mr. Noble's wrench. The guy carrying this film is scratching the f*** out of it by running into another room and letting it drag on the editing machine and the floor.
I want you to follow her. Get me a couple of nice, juicy pictures I can wise the rabbit up with.
Movie that is essentially for kids has a PI hired to take photos of Jessica Rabbit having sex with another man subplot. By the way, I can say without hesitation that the film these guys are carrying will not get untangled for another 2 hours at least.
The best part is, they work for peanuts.
Is this a wah-wah, what the f***, or an oh my god I forgot my medication? Fantasia broom extras have been relegated to a life of sweeping film studio lots, while holding the other brooms. Broomception? Too many seconds of him gaping at Toon behavior that shouldn't really surprise him at all, but is mostly here for the viewing audience to adapt to. Throwing your bills in the trash is a terrible financial strategy.
Toon killed his brother.
How is this not already common knowledge? How and why are there tumbleweeds in a downtown big city alley?
Nice monkey suit.
That's racist. Donald Duck versus Daffy Duck on piano is clearly the most logical use of both of these characters. Clearly. An octopus bartender seems like a great idea, until you see him dirt bopping around behind the bar like this and you realize you're screwed as a customer.
Look, the stain's gone. It's disappearing ink.
The stain is not gone, but it helpfully waits to disappear when Eddie looks down at it. Movie has time for a Betty Boop reference that teens and kids didn't even understand when this movie came out. But regardless, Camel Lights anyone?
Work's been kinda slow since cartoons went to color.
Yeah, but Mickey Mouse started out black and white too, didn't he? And he's color now. Is that because of an operation? Why did Betty Boop get left out of the colorization? Also, this makes me wonder if there are multiple differently drawn Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse characters running around in Toon Town. Do they have stolen identity conflicts? The physical proportions of this cartoon female are so exaggerated, I'm not sure I can get anything more than a cartoon boner over it. Also, the movie says it's okay to be attracted to cartoons, and I am okay with that, and I am not okay with that. Also, unrelated, I'm wondering if humans can have sex with toons. And what would that be like? Are your genitals covered in paint afterwards?
Why don't you do right?
1 hour, 45-minute movie might not be so long if it didn't let scenes like this stretch on into eternity. Here we are, a minute later, she's still f***ing singing. We get it, she can sing, and she's a cartoon, and she's hot. Got it. We had it 2 minutes ago, but thanks for the bullshit. Super giant keyhole you can eavesdrop through is convenient, but I really don't think there's a key in the world that fits this thing and works.
Ooga booga.
That's way racist. We find out later that Jessica is staging this patty cake session with Acme so that Eddie will take pictures of it, but it required him being thrown out first to get a good look. If he didn't get thrown out, these pictures would have been 75% keyhole and perhaps 0% patty cake. Eddie's camera wasn't nearly fast enough and didn't nearly take enough pictures for this flipbook animation joke. This movie will now use literal patty cake as a sex metaphor, because what the f*** am I watching? Hey, Bob Hoskins, lay down on a desk and act like a cartoon rabbit is attacking you, okay? Close enough. Cartoon physics somehow translate their nonsense to real-world objects. So, Roger Rabbit speed-bolted out the window so fast he left his impression in the glass and the blinds, but he only went as far as the main Acme building 2 blocks away before melting down into a blubbering mess? Thankfully, the contents of this desk are arranged in an expositionally friendly way. This asshole not only left a bunch of newspaper trimmings hanging around for expositional purposes, he even left the scissors, which suggests he's cutting newspaper trimmings to this day, which is ludicrous. His brother died ages ago. Also, the fact that Goofy was ever brought up on spy charges. Goofy, of all people. Cop school does not include a rigorous class for checking a dead guy's hand. A corpse course, of course.
No, Judge Doom.
This guy's name is Judge Doom. Is he related to Dr. Doom? When the people in this movie find out he's the bad guy, do you think they might wonder how they missed all the signs? The black outfit, the spectacles, the cane, the name, and the inherent evil? These assholes working for the man in black crash their way into a crime scene with no repercussions whatsoever. Hey, Shoe! What were you doing nuzzling him earlier if he was such a danger, eh? Movie tries to make me feel bad about the murder of a Shoe.
The ladies mean, huh?
My problem is I got a 50-year-old lust and a 3-year-old dinky.
And yeah, what the movie is subtly telling me is that despite that flaw, this 3-year-old cartoon is currently getting it on with a grown human female. Also, this movie filled with sex, innuendo, and violence is PG? How did Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg convince the MPAA? Oh.
Since you were the one who got my pal in trouble, you might want to help get him out. I can pay you.
Eddie, who really needs the money, turns down a job and shoves a baby down a hallway, just because of a perceived insult that in the grand scheme of things isn't that insulting. Acme casually walked around with his last will and testament in his pocket, and in plain view of anyone who cared to notice.
I got no keys for these cuffs.
Private Detective keeps a set of handcuffs in his closet he has no keys for, and they said David Carradine had closet-based fetishes. The best way these weasel Toon cops can think of to get through this ancient locked door is to use a machine gun, instead of, breaking the glass and turning the interior handle. Weasel clearly sees Roger, but doesn't. It's the Schrodinger's cat of seeing things. And now we know where Lion King got its hyenas. Soap is the strongest object in the Toon universe. I guess Roger is invisible to everyone because Eddie is trying really hard to keep him hidden, and everyone's eyes forgive that. Also, Roger, who super wants to live, keeps doing like this.
Zipper, Eddie! That almost killed me!
We've been given explicit information that only the Judge Doom acid kills Toons. So why do Toons even worry about death unless confronted with a giant vat of sludge that clearly changed Jack Napier into the Joker? For reasons I will never understand, Valiant begins trying to saw through the wrist part of the handcuffs directly into his own flesh, as opposed to sawing into the much smaller metal chain between the cuffs.
Hold still, will ya?
He's barely moving, and you're sawing your own cuff thing, so. Roger casually slides out of the cuffs now that they're safe, and what the f***? What an asshole. Not only is he using an awl to clean his ears, he's cleaning both at the same time, shoving this awl straight through his brain. You might could get away with this in a cartoon, but in a movie that is only half cartoon? No way, dude. Cartoons are ridiculously slow when they appear behind opaque glass.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Apparently you aren't drawn at all. You just came to life and put thousands of animators out of work.
Dabbling in watercolors, Eddie?
Are these two really going out? We heard and saw things about the past, but they seemed like ex-lovers. She's jealous now?
A rabbit. Get the judge.
How did these assholes know to be here? Aren't they supposed to be super incompetent? Roger has literally no clue what the word fugitive means.
But I'm a Toon. Toons are supposed to make people laugh.
Why are you so gung-ho about making people laugh now? But earlier you were desperate to stay hidden in Eddie's apartment, sleeping in his hide-a-bed.
Well, say hello, Harvey.
Is this movie saying that this guy's seen the Pulitzer Prize-winning play Harvey? Or the movie that came out 3 years later? Judging by the knowing reaction, I'm guessing movie, which is impossible.
No Toon can resist the old shave and a haircut.
That would mean you're Weasel Gang too, though, right? Also, the fact that this shave and a haircut involuntary response bullshit is a thing. Even in Toon Town, this is some stupid-ass f***ery. Doom's about to put Roger in the dip, but if Jessica truly was drawn, as she said, couldn't someone just draw a Roger again?
How about it, Judge? Huh?
Well, why not?
Why would the judge agree to let Roger have a last drink mere inches from his decimation? Well, why not? Well, why not? What's taking Judge Doom and his weasels so long to leave the bar?
I can't believe they locked me up for driving on a sidewalk.
I can't either, Ex Machina vehicle of Ex Machinaness from Ex Machinaville.
How about those Brooklyn Dodgers? Are they bums or what?
Why does a cartoon cab in Los Angeles care about the Brooklyn Dodgers?
I'm gonna ram them.
Robert Zemeckis can't help but refer to the movie he made 3 years previously that obviously nobody saw.
What do you call the middle of a song?
I don't know. Maybe tell them a bridge is up ahead rather than making them figure it out? Eddie takes a highly wanted Roger to the movies in a theater that is jam-packed downstairs, but nobody bothered to go to the balcony for some reason.
We're supposed to be hiding. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? You went to a fucking movie theater to hide. Who does that other than Lee Harvey Oswald? Wait a minute. Lee Harvey Oswald, Harvey the Rabbit. Coincidence?
Dropped the piano on us from 15 stories.
Was it a cartoon piano or a real piano? I'll tell you why I think this matters. If cartoon objects function basically the way regular objects do, this would solve nearly all the world's problems. You could just draw the things you need. Why are there problems in this world?
I never did find out who that guy was.
But something tells me that story and this story are connected somehow. Movie newsreel contains information extremely vital to the plot. Movie studio at the center of a major conspiracy has zero security.
You cover my back.
Eddie trusts Roger to cover his back.
Valiant, what are you trying to do? Give me a heart attack?
Someone got paid to write that line.
A story of greed, sex, and murder. Parts that I don't like. I'm gonna let it out.
Or if you're Zemeckis and Spielberg, you can keep anything you want and still have a PG rating. Who is able to shoot this accurately through a window without even being seen? Movie accidentally inspires Back to the Future 2 tunnel 1 year later. Why would the gun be cartoon but in a real box? Also, despite cartoon things working in the real world, apparently regular guns don't work in Toon Town, only Toon guns. Eddie quits drinking and then decides, I also have to waste one of my bullets shooting the bottle out of the air. I thought I was in Toon Town this whole movie, but apparently I was not. Mind blown. I'm not sure if Eddie's actually here, probably because his actual presence in the Toon world looks fake as shit. There's basically no distinction between the real world and the cartoon world anymore, after both worlds contain oversized keyhole scenes. Tweety is a Sylvester to Valiant, so movie is saying he'd be dead if not for the accidental walk-in on the bizarro Jessica Rabbit earlier? Because if so, then movie. I heard footsteps, must be related to my case.
He went that away.
Let's go!
As it turns out, this magic gun Eddie remembered to bring and was such a big deal earlier was totally worthless. This cab must work for the Ex Machina taxi service. How the ever-loving did he know they'd be coming through this tunnel right at this moment? How long has he been standing here waiting for them? Like hours? All bad guys are rapists, and the fact that I'm saying that in a PG movie kinda creeps me the out.
Nice booby trap.
Some puns are funny.
Doom grabbed your wife and Valiant and took to the Acme factory.
I don't know why he announced where he was going either, but ain't that lucky?
I won't be Cloverleaf Industries by any chance, huh?
You're looking at the sole stockholder.
Do publicly traded companies ever have just a sole stockholder? Is that even possible?
Be careful with that gun. This ain't no cartoon, you know.
But it is, remember? You guys can't die except for the Doom dip, so why are you scared of a gun?
By the real meaning of the word probably hits you like a ton of brick.
Literal irony, which in this case isn't funny, literally or figuratively. This is why you don't hire weasels as your henchmen. They turn on you at the first sign of hilarity.
Better watch us Toon friends get dipped, then shoot him.
Why does Doom think that Eddie has some major emotional tie to Roger and Jessica, that his devastation would be that fun to watch? The answer is he doesn't, meaning Doom is only doing it so the heroes can be saved. Also, this guy walks off before seeing any of his enemies killed, like a Batman TV show villain.
Now Roger is his name. Laughter is his game.
Eddie is allowed to do this.
I'm bouncing off the walls. Without that gun, I'd have some fun. I'd kick you in the...
Yeah, better stop him from finishing that lyric, or else this movie can't be for kids anymore. These dying weasels sure manage to ex machina their stuff to still be dangerous to our heroes even after their deaths. This really is an episode of the old Batman TV show. I get the sense Roger and Jessica could have been dipped in the dip, rather than sprayed, but that's what I get when I look for logic and have cartoons. Why did this asshole even leave in the first place if he was that unsure his henchmen could finish the job? Did he walk out and then, hide for 5 minutes? The f*** has he been doing all this time? Why was the singing sword Toon toy ever put into production? Who were the ad wizards that came up with this? Cartoon magnet affects real-world metal.
Don't move.
Doom decides not to immediately kill Eddie again. There's no doubt that after 3 near misses, Roger and Jessica should have at least been hit with some incidental spray by now. This is f***ing horrific. Millions of kids watch this guys. I mean, seriously? Bad guy turns back on the thing we already didn't get all that tense about in the brief finale. 30 seconds of taking too long to kill Eddie. After being ridiculously sprayed with the dip, Doom still somehow is alive and intact enough to keep screaming and living. Homage or straight theft of the Wizard of Oz? It doesn't matter. I thought you had to drive through the Back to the Future 2 tunnel to get to Toon Town, but it's in Acme's backyard apparently. Magic fire hydrants are all over the place at the Acme factory to wash away all the dip no one could foresee existing when they were installed.
And this is the rope from the safe that was dropped on Acme. I think your lab boys will find that paint's a perfect match.
But almost entirely useless as evidence, since everybody in this factory could have used that rope and it doesn't necessarily exonerate anyone or prove guilt.
That's what I call one seriously disturbed tune.
Wait until you see heavy metal. That's wicked.
All right.
Or a woodpecker.
Or a pussy.
Couldn't you just say cat?
That's all, folks. I like the sound of that.
Movie pretends to know the origin story of Porky Pig saying that's all folks, but he was saying it well before 1947. Ever since CinemaSins began, the most requested thing has been TV-Sins, and now it's a reality. Click the link in the description below to check it out. And now, the audio outtakes.
The couple has found one another. And at last, the family is together.
Love, you didn't do right.
See?
Oh, yeah. I used to be a salesman. It's a tough racket. Pretty Woman.
Well,
and she
but
has
you know
to decide
what?
whether
You know
to
what
stay
we
with the
could
TV
do?
show or save
It
this
could be a
entire
man.
African tribe.
It could be a man.
Hey, where's Chris?
If you're not an assistant, you don't get involved with writers.
But I wasn't getting involved. I was just listening to this amazing idea. I told you I'd give it to you.
What's your pitch?
The best. Well, is political scare you?
Political doesn't scare me.
Tommy, how's the peeping? Tommy, how's the peeping?
21 gigawatts!
Oh boy, this is gonna get worse before it gets better.
Remember when this was all farmland as far as the eye could see? Old man Peabody owned all of this. He had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.